At the 4th floor of the Cork Island Tunnel, Ranker 16 Peak Sword and 8 top-ranked players, and the 200 members of the Silver Knights are gathered here, with each of them can easily defeat a fortress. But Peak Sword still feels too pressure. Every 2 weeks in this dungeon will have a boss named Hell Gao appear. However, they have fallen before it, 5 times. So throughout the whole month, everyone has improved the money as crazy for this battle, although it was stronger than before. Peak Sword still cannot be confident, and 3 minutes more, Hell Gao will appear. Suddenly there was a large soldier with an invasion. Make every eye facing the entrance. As expected, there was a robe standing there. Peak Sword or anyone here does not know who this person is. It looks so strange to him. But that young man did not abstain from looking at the crowd in front of him. At this time, Peak Sword suddenly discovered he had no equipment but a cloak he kept crossing the guards downstairs. Or when he was an assassin, there was no killer name that was publicly on his face. All Peak Sword knows the name Grid, but the search also does not work out. This means that this person is not on the rankings. He softened his eyes and looked at his teammates. They only knew how to shrug his shoulder and signaled to give his hands, making Peak Sword angry, cursing, humiliating face. The whole soldiers watched a name coming here. Calculated to us, or what thought. And then he warned loudly, "This is the exclusive area of the Silver Technician Association. I don't know how you come here, but now we have an important battle. If you don't want to die, then come back." Grid finished breathing and breathing out, telling his hidden body, naturally lost. It turned out to be due to stepping into the area of Hell Gao. If so, I don't need this anymore. Grid straightened his cloak to reveal the inner armor, attract all eyes from low to high-level soldiers. This young man's armor is really cool, but its highlight lies in the long tail like a blade. This is the first time the guards saw such a set of armor. Is it unique that tail is a decoration? Hearing that, Peak Sword gritted his teeth. Now it's not the time when the chaotic quickly expel him. He just stuck the terrible heat and bursting up behind his back. Signal Hell Gao has appeared. His eyes are bloody red. From the cruel flame, the weapon and the huge body of Hell Gao gradually appeared, threatening the people who were terrified at the pressure of terrorism that it caused. The owner of Hell Gao Hellfire appeared powerful. The sound of Hell Gao's variety causes fear effects, reducing awareness and weakness. The heat of Hell Gao reduces fire resistance by 50%. Hell Gao uses fire columns, has caused the entire dungeon to submerge in the flames. The painful screams of pain resounded. The helplessness appears on the faces of the soldiers. With only one move, that half of the army has gone. Peak Sword has increased fire to 86%, but still nothing. Maybe they failed again. He was thinking that he saw Grid walking in the flames. It was like it didn't affect him. Peak Sword did not dare to believe in his eyes that fire blowed his army. Yet that wandering name is not so bad. In addition, he was awake to get something. Peak Sword focused on observation. I thought that the big hammer would be a big hoe. Then Peach the face in the panic of Peak Sword. Oh my god. Do not say this name is planning to dig minerals right in front of Hell Gao. Meanwhile, Grid is tired of the heat. Because of the heat, why does the labor become more and more difficult like this? Later, when I had to move to the new dragon cave, I was engrossed in digging, so Grid did not know that Hell Gao was standing behind him. Also straight down a very tight blow. Eat such a full face. There is a god who can't live, but he still stands and touches there. So Grid also loudly calling his uncle. He didn't intend to do anything. There was a hot here. While Peak Sword was surprised why he was still so delicious, Grid is busy with Hell Gao. Encounter a hard young man. Making it crazy, the sword continued to attack. Who doubted the tail behind Grid automatically moved and hit, making both Hell Gao and Peak Sword shocked, unable to close the mouth. Then the new Grid smirked. It was all thanks to the equipment effect. But before that coolness, Grid was once lived by the person who used to use him. He once forced him to obey like a dog, and now he asked to kill him again. Beans like this is valid, yet, at the time when Grid revealed a loophole, a man slashed hard on his back. Do you have to die here? At this moment, a person appeared with a cold voice. The greedy boy. He was blurred by money because the money he had ignored the contract and betrayed my trust. But this man is Asher. He continued to continue, which did not expect much in Grid, but still hoped he could complete the mission. Grid bit his teeth and did it as he told him. Now he didn't intend to reward me. Of course, yes. Asher coldly said the reward for the BOI tin is definitely death, a subordinate of the guy who is ready to go down. Just think about this as the end after risking for months to complete the damn mission. Grid is not committed at all. It is a damn game. The story is what has been happening for a while, all in the world of the most popular virtual reality game. With 2 billion players around the world, Satisfy can be considered the second Earth. The unexplained areas still have countless counts. The end of the south is located in a distant place no one knows. In the deepest position in this cave is the area with the most play equipment sets, and many countless. Perhaps it has been forgotten until a player comes here. But that person is none other than Grid 73. He came to this place an hour ago. He found the Asher Count's S-level mission item, the valuable book of the legendary blacksmith. Grid was very touched because he had just experienced an arduous journey. How many times he wanted the game to remove his mouth. There are things that he accidentally accepted, the S-level mission that could not be kept. So how many levels lost? How many items and equipment for this task? Once you get the sun, Grid will never go back to that, Arthur. He was happy to check the book, but he demanded to have the Eye of Palladian. Grid only knew how to open the fence on the crippled pants. Because that item is as expensive as faux landmark, this game is only good at sucking blood players. While Grid is a poor monkey paying for salary where to dig this money. Since playing the game until now, it has Valmont reported the house several times already. Debt has already owed only a little more. Debt is not dead anyway. Next month is about to be there. The notice system is inspecting the precious books of the legendary blacksmith. Suddenly, a stream of light tied out from the book. Grid widened his eyes in surprise. When seeing this is a legendary item, a valuable book of Pagma. This is a book containing Pagma's experience, a blacksmith that has surpassed the limit of man. Anyone who opens this book can be converted into Pagma's traditional profession, and your rank will increase to 500 on the whole continent. Grid spray glue takes a few seconds, then happily cried out, winning the lottery, people. If you change to the legendary class, it means that you will be the strongest person. But these things are only in a dream. Grid sadly reminds yourself to dream. You are here to do that task, quit the task, then the wire ends. The conscience, very. But the conscience cannot be eaten selling rare goods that are hard to find. What kind of helping a few 100 million? Grid had to plow and hire his back to have money to play games. And money, the only thing he was proud of himself, was durability. Yet friends saw him addicted to the game and stopped playing all the time. Even the whole family also ignored because he thought he was a loser. But now it is over. Bye-bye the life of the assistant worker. This Shin Young-woo is about to become a giant. Finally, Grid closed the call of money, hurriedly logged out to sell. But the system cannot escape the game here. Shortly thereafter, the task of the secret of the Asher County, he changed to the indignation of the SS Asher County. He suddenly appeared with countless soldiers attached. He contemptuously said that the adventurers were equally greedy. The system reminds Asher Earl is very angry because you are going to the book to escape. He is going to kill you to win the book. Grid heard after his face fake stupid. Who knows anything? At this time, Asher said coldly, which was the appropriate punishment for the BOI tin like him. Grid was crazy and screamed at his mother. So who had reduced my fame to cheat the reward? Asher thick face is in vain, then ordered Grid. And that is the reason for his fall. Of course, he did not commit to accepting death. Grinding teeth and then rushing forward to avoid a death blow anyway. Grid is also a level 73 player with a proper skill. First stop the enemy movement, then shock and build a guard. But the distortion of the other name is disabled. It is touched and stunned. Make Grid panic, not knowing what to do. If you die, will the book disappear? Grid cannot complete the task. It is also impossible to out of the game, even more unable to sell items. If they wanted to force others to reach the end, there was no other way. If you can't eat it, you will kick down. Seeing you are going to open the book. The gray Asher sewing face shouted at the company to stop him. But late then, it was miserable if he left Grid's yen. He wouldn't have to do this level. The surrounding light had just flared up. The system announced the start of the job. All indicators and skills will be reset. Now it is impossible to turn around anymore. Just hope that when he is completed, he can give up this task. After becoming an expert of Pagma, the legendary gene, a series of skills have been opened. Yet Grid clicked his tongue. This is the production system class in real life. He had to work hard. Maybe in this, the system constantly updates new skill for Grid, making him feel full of strength. But the funniest is to see Asher's panic face. Now I hear to accept all this crowd, even the mission for death. Transferring the job to complete the Grid could not help but smirk. Let me tell you who is the new father. Just reach the rank of the legendary mission. If you have a good challenge, swim here, whoever is now. This general is at level 1. The whole person must have every loincloth. The strength is not there. The index does not. So only a sword was scratched by Grid. Right, and always. At the same time, in the real world, at a big house, the game operating team is reporting, just someone transferred the legendary career 5 minutes ago. The president finished listening to the company immediately to meet. Unexpectedly, there were people who transferred the job so early. It is fascinating. The Grid notification system has decreased by 2 levels. The current level is -1. The mission fails, so it is impossible to enter Parian anymore. All Parian soldiers will kill you immediately. Before the Grid was still in time to kick Asher a few sentences, he would really kill others if they contrary to him. What's the other face just now? Just now. Grid was then kind and giving him a sentence. Living in life, never despise others? Go back to the real world? He lazily walked out from the gaming machine. With a haggard face and dark circles like Panda, this is the consequence of plowing the game too much. But the result is the negative level and losing hundreds of millions. Being lamented from behind appeared killing intent. His mother stood behind and asked, "No, what time? Now is it my beloved son, my mother?" At the same time at Satisfy Executive and Development Company, a forest car in front of the company. The next president should personally the executive committee of Choi Na-hee stepped out to welcome. He had not stepped out of the car and asked immediately, "What was the 5-minute career transfer? I did not expect such an interesting thing to happen. First, I want to read the report. Everything is prepared. Yet this man is President Lim Cheolho." Grid's info was quickly found. He was a 73-level warrior, currently -1, whose real name is Shin Young-woo, has just moved the job with the mission items of 3 Asher, the Book of Pagma, based on the report of the Information Department. He is just a normal game addict. The most remarkable achievement is in the city for 1 year to increase fame and play in the 200-month area for 3 months, despite dying many times. Although the president has asked to report everything related to the legendary class, but in this case, we feel it is just a normal accident. However, Lim Cheolho found Grid's luck and blow very respectfully. Choi Na-hee said that he was lucky to have this class, although it was highly likely to be the executive committee's fault. Suddenly, Lim Cheolho affirmed this lucky luck. As predicted by supercomputers and development teams, it takes only 2 years to discover the cave to the south and the precious books of Pagma. However, that guy broke all the predictions, found the cave, and activated the task series to find the book. The red dog was hard to explain this phenomenon. Moreover, the level of negative is also another good thing. Usually, Asher's mission is only delivered after level 350, but Grid level 73 has changed the job because he does not want to lose items. The lowering one is a heavy penalty accompanied by the legendary job transfer. The law has clearly stated that when a mission fails only 2 levels, the 10-level player will not be affected by that law, but he is completely descended from 1 because of the special case. Choi Na-hee was open to astonished eyes widening. Knowing that she understood that Lim Cheolho continued to say that each level increased, it would come with 10 index points until now Grid is the only one, level 1. And it takes 2 times to increase level 1, which means he will have an advantage over the same person in Le. What if that luck became an obvious thing? Then he was not lucky, but thanks to his strength. Choi Na-hee finished listening to the picture for a few seconds, and then concluded a green sentence. The game is unbalanced and then fixed, causing Lim Cheolho to sweat and say that it doesn't need to do so. She said he was a poor player but did not need to worry, and Pagma's transmission was weaker than other legendary professions. Speaking of which, he suddenly shut up. Choi Na-hee asked the president why he said nothing. "Now I have to go home, need to report anything. ALO for me right away." But now in another place, Shin Young-woo is sitting blankly on the chair, constantly being applying the name to receive salary quickly, the legs, and then go home to go straight. Young-woo stood up and apologized, then heard people talking about him again. It seems that it is addicted to heavy games and has nothing to do. Youth that falls like that, it is all broken. Young-woo pitied to hold the $3 salary and sat in one place. It was probably enough to load the game now, but soon after that he was able to know himself all day long, to know the game being disregarded by people. Capital tried to sell items to take money to live better, but it took me hundreds of millions to spicy. It's close to success, but also to slip away. So I slipped from level 73 to sound 1. I was really incompetent. At that moment there was a luxury car running over to rumbling, on the road with the speed of worship. Indeed, that player has no potential, as name said, but he thought Young-woo had something that others didn't have. I just don't know if he realized or not. But Young-woo is scratching his head to think of another way of making money. perhaps just struggling like this. Thinking forever does not solve anything. Then let's ignore her. Making game for relaying, this is what Lim Cheolho talks about. The persistence, or frankly speaking, is addicted to gaming to death. Moments later at Young Woo's house, he quickly got into the gaming machine. It was all lost anyway. Just check it out to see if the new class was nothing. As long as the machine is still working, I still hope. Young Woo will do everything possible to earn money. The system quickly connected to Satisfy, then transferred him to the bare trees. Young Woo has just appeared. This place is not like the cave yesterday. It took how long it was like a buffalo in Parian, but I was betrayed once Young Woo was just complaining and walking around to determine where this is a place. Then suddenly discovered a mountain with a strange shape. Inside there are some magicians who are reading the mantra with a young girl. The scary dark energy covers the entire cave. Young Woo silently excluded this place so murky. Then the newspaper system, you have entered Satan Temple, but often the temples only appear from level 150 or more, making Young Woo afraid of pale face. The information of his character has also changed the name of the grid level 1, with the profession of Pa Mag, and the title of the legendary mission. The attributes and skills are all falling to the bottom of society. Young Woo spray stiff glue in front of that pile of piles. Now he really believes the negative level is not the game error. Although the attribute index is like a stick, but in return, the skill of enhancing the item is very okay. You can equip all the items arbitrary, but the equipment will be reduced in power depending on the difference with the character. So Young Woo tried to wear armor and Debao Kiev. Whoever doubted to wear it, so he was extremely surprised. Obviously, this thing needed 200 points to wear. Before you have fun, Young Woo has discovered the power is significantly reduced. However, Mammon's sword headquarters attacked 200, and Engel's armor had a defense of 130 higher than the level 1 equipment 10 times. Young Woo happily laughed and laughed. He was laughing loudly when he suddenly realized a truth. Not this is the 150-star prison bunker, the monster around here is at the same level. What the situation is so sorrowful. At that moment the scream tied up from the bottom. Young Woo just focused on seeing what are Satan followers doing the sacrifice ritual. Seeing them both crowded and dangerous, he was about to play cards missing by a guy who was bloomed immediately. He had not been able to go anywhere by a man who was hidden. That person suddenly put his hand on Young Woo's shoulder. It made him startled to swing the room and screamed, "Oh, my cheek!" But the body of the other person was as fast as he dodged and calmly calmed down. Swing the sword so cleverly killing people. I am the secret bodyguard of the 3. Member Star's name. Doran looking at him. He is even stealing like that, it's probably not on the other side. In the dark dungeon, Young Woo knew the girl under the name of Irene, the daughter of the 3. Member Star, she was kidnapped while Doran was leave. So now this brother has to save. This is a difficult situation that someone here helps us. This is the task of rescuing the daughter of the Earl within a reward of 3,000 lucky gold, which can become a failure to accept 2 levels. Young Woo finished watching, only knew that only to swear to the cheeks turned out to be an S-level task, and the other guy was NPC. While melancholy Doran turned to tell him often, the people who came here were scared, but he was not scared at all. Make Young Woo skeptical life, that just ignored no lifetime of a weak viscous guy like me, is so courageous, like that I have any other skill. See information that Young Woo character knows, that he also has a static supportive skill that can reduce the likelihood of being affected by a bad effect, and quickly recover if they have to look like they have to quickly learn more about this class feature only. Doran laughed at Young Woo for helping me, but Young Woo told me to distort it. Doran takes a bit of throat and then begged to see Young Woo bluntly refusing to leave. He just asked not to say that he could let him solo alone with the dark magician. 3,000 gold is also delicious. But what is the stupid Young Woo on the S-level task? Doran tried to convince him to be a super strong hero who could resist the pressure from the temple without uncle. He would go away to help me go away. Young Woo immediately jerked up and told me that I was lucky to avoid the effect. I was the first level 1. If it failed, I would fall down to sound 3. 2 people argued back and forth for a while. Young Woo accidentally touched them a large stone. Make it roll down under them to look down. How unlucky that the other stone had just smashed a Chinese magician. The system automatically accepts the task of rescuing the daughter of the Earl, made Young Woo angrily asked what sticks. So Doran also said that now my brothers and sisters have the same boat, and then make him even more annoyed. At this time, the moist magicians pulled up on Doran to remind our enemies to be a flood of crazy craving, often sacrificing the people they had surrounded the altar, so it was not easy to overcome nowhere. Fate is something that can inevitably we only love each other and live alone. He will move the way for him to save the princess. Now the finals have come to the place where a man screams up for the rest to the dead. Seeing that the enemy was too crowded and aggressive, the name was killed. Threatening young Woo is afraid of Re-Face, even though it has been fully equipped. His fighting strength is also limited at level 34, just hit a lightly knocking right away. Young Woo sat down on the ground and hugged his head and swore that he had to go to the board to count the number right away, but before the other guy could take his life, he hit the knife and fell to the ground. Meanwhile, Doran rushed to fight with some fanatic guys. They hit that. He dodged it as fast as lightning, then draw 2 daggers. Lower 2 names in the blink of an eye. The remaining names also quickly suffered the same fate of death. Young Woo did not expect that in this narrow space the image moved quickly and skillfully that I had the opportunity to survive. But even if he was another group of magicians, he found him. Doran quickly approached young Woo and told me that I couldn't go anywhere like this. Did you think that? I know you intend to kill yet. After saying that, he pushed young Woo down to make him frantically screamed that he was still a child who did not want to die. At this time, Doran has just made floating. Help young Woo not respond with his face but floating in the air. He explained that this is a simple magic to protect us when falling from above. He probably knows right. Young Woo frustrated out because this is still distorted, but still have to thank his brother for saving him from getting his ass beaten. Doran coldly replied, instead of thanking him, "Why don't you go all out from now on? Because now is the time for combat," and then in front of them, the magicians are standing in the altar. They quickly performed magic to treat the religion the spirit of hell, bring the resentment here. Young Woo wondered what magic they were doing, so Doran was in a brain that was a black magic that was quite difficult to handle, but he was distorted and scared. After saying that he immediately successfully defeated 2 names, the leader of the other side saw that immediately ordered the believers to leave the time for me, so they knew straight towards Doran immediately. Young Woo recognized this Doran brother. He could overcome the mission thanks to NPC. So what you can do now is cheering for him. Young Woo excitedly tried to go to Doran. The baby's sunshine, my hope is based on him. At that time, the magicians on the other side were constantly reciting the destruction of God, forgetting the will to become my puppet energy. The dark energy flared up so Doran could not return to the hand. Surrounded by them tied limbs. Then young Woo just wanted to dig a hole and go down to wish that could be changed to the enemy to help the countryside. The dark leader of the darkness laughed and laughed. This is the ending for the flies. But Doran suddenly spoke out by the guy, Doran, the shadow of star. Sincerely vow to complete the task as a guard of the family. Once he had escaped from the grip of the dark magic, young Woo widened his eyes and looked at the black magic and thought that he was an important NPC in the story. The magician on the other side saw that it had to open his mouth to prepare to attack again, but Doran triggered the thunder in the dagger. As long as you are here, the frantic floods do not attempt to harm the Star family. As soon as I finished, the dagger rushed towards the enemy. But crashing into a protective shield, Doran was not surprised, heard the cold voice of a woman today, the lucky person there. Young Woo stood looking at her. Unfortunately, we must notify you that our S-level task is to protect this ritual. Faced with strong NPC like Doran, make us feel extremely excited whether the person is worthy to be the opponent of Yurata here. This is a Yura player with the nickname of the Witch. She is a Korean gamer in the rank of Dark and 5th Dark Master rankings. In the general rankings, she is also a famous person who often appears on TV thanks to beautiful beauty and outstanding ability. Yura was quite surprised to meet Doran in the task that hindered the invader based on the transcendent senses and the ability to control skillfully. But she can combine magic together, surpass the limit of a magician. How young Woo, not understanding what a person like she is doing here. After the head of the opponent, Yura just asked you that he was the one who triggered the S-level mission. This is the only place I can practice new skills without being peeked at. You surprised me. But only with level 80 is equipped with the pulp, like that. This game is a bit difficult for you. Although she guessed the wrong level of the taste, it was still the top player, so he was still worried. However, you have a suspicious Doran teammate. There is a specialist who has to falter. But Yura wants to choose young Woo as an opponent. To celebrate my level 230, Doran was not afraid of the opponent's threats and encouraged young Woo to move forward. Just stand still, I can't do anything. Only combat can win this match to see Doran defeated his attack. Yura immediately praised his ability equivalent to NPC that has upgraded the 3rd class, but people are not my taste. Do not fly in front of me. She just finished Doran's legs that was locked. But this technique was not lost to him just by a dancer jumping easily escaped. Also take advantage of that to counterattack Yura. Of course, this technique did not hurt her, but Yura was still quite impressed with Doran was tired, but Chain was still stretched. Doran asserts that he has the strength to lower his mother, but quickly stopped his throat when he saw that Ma Fat attacked from behind. Yura, coldly said, "You could thank me, so you would gently go after I sucked your blood." So Doran only knew how to scream in the spot. Despite the bloody blood, he would be a little bit soon. If you die, Youngwoo also follows too. Yura is confident this is a high level of 30% mana. Then Doran once again resisted success. "You are so high, the young witch, so I can see the power to protect my family for thousands of years." Causing her to exclude a NPC was forced to cancel the 220-star magic. Youngwoo also does not understand what just happened. Doran explained by Doran, thanks to this ring, it activated itself every time. In danger, its effect is to purify the curse and heal. Youngwoo craves to beg, but Doran is still awake. Then remind him not to help him, this immortal, you have to fight with me. Doran continues to throw weapons to Yura. But she was wiped out by her. She exclaimed, "He was more buffalo than I thought. Perhaps you have to use the trump card right now." Suddenly Yura noticed that the boy was overwhelmed. But a low-level guy threatened a little bit of fear of peeing. What could he do? At this time the believers suddenly resurrected. Youngwoo, immediately howling to let Doran know that the crazy people have revived. Seeing that Yura contemptuously thought that it was pathetic, probably going to cling to NPC. Now is the time to recall the great night of the Lord of the Darkness, to spread the fear and suffering into the heart of the enemy, and to release the strength. Yura will finish Doran with the ultimate attack on the entire mana. Named after the storm. The wind torn the wind to the speed of light, made Doran terrified of not knowing what to do. At that moment, Youngwoo rushed forward to protect him. Immediately after that, a horrible explosion exploded strongly. Even Yura did not stand after the last technique. She put all her full power to collapse the temple. Surely the other two gates spent their lives. But unexpectedly, the old lady's smoke gradually melted into the eyes of Yura as the light armor. With two young gates standing out there receiving a direct shot without the whole body without a scratch. No life, she did not know such a player who was the other guy in the end. Youngwoo did not expect himself a blood after that attack. It was even more surprised when survival skill was discovered. When the blood drops to the lowest level, it will disable the entire damage within 5 seconds. He could not help but show a smile, make Yura even more amazed at this level 80 player. In the strict situation, still confidently laugh. No life. I do not know the hegemony player like this. This name is the god. Meanwhile, Youngwoo is being considered by Doran as a springboard. To rush, he told him, and he had to move forward to win. Yura hurriedly prepared to defend and shouted loudly, his last dead struggle, "Do not despise me." Her crystal shield destroyed all Doran's weapons. Make me only know how to bite her teeth and swear it, she still uses a technique. Yura hurriedly searched for Youngwoo because his body was about to resolve him right before it was too late. But in front of her is just a patch of dust. The other guy just escaped the game, obviously still standing here and smiling like flowers. In the end, this is the holy god. At this time, Youngwoo dreamed awake. With the notice, you have died, and also reduced 2 levels to sound 3. Because he died twice for 24 hours, he could not log into the game within 12 hours. It turned out that Doran's kick earlier was cleaned by the last bloodline. Make him naked in instant? It is true that not afraid of strong enemies, just afraid of stupid teammates like crawling. That Yura in the game is dumbfounded because I think, the other guy just gave him this task. How dare he despised himself like that? He had to search for him at all costs. The next day, a player in the rank was nicknamed by the gaming community Ghost of Satan Temple. And Youngwoo is now frantically cursing Doran. How dare you drag me into the mission and kick me to death? What kind of NPC? Then turn to blame the Yura batch if she doesn't appear. Everything has been in it. But also have to bear it in the game. The strong is the winner, and those who lose, shut up. We have to be very calm to be able to say one side, but the hand does one another. On the information sheet of players is the commentary of Yura Stone. Youngwoo frantically bought keys to drown her in the sea of saliva. If you were cursing, my sister came out and asked. The second brother had a sadness again, making Youngwoo startled. His younger sister's name is Seihi, 17 years old. The girl is too depressed to tell his brother to stop cleaning the room quickly in this foul too. Looking at the head and knowing that the whole month did not wash my hair, Youngwoo was shy to tell my sister not to clean up at midnight, and then I still went to my room to do what? Sehee looked at the computer to ask him really making money with this game. Why Young Woo seemed to say there were 2 billion players. If you play well, you will become a giant. The thing is, Sehee's eyes are all his brother's comment. Young Woo resisted that his hand did it, not him. But Sehee has no hope left in this brother anymore, so disappointed even though he has tried to explain that his sister refused to believe. His resentment for Yura increased. The next morning, enlist when his parents went to work and Sehee went to school. At this time, Lee Kyung-min from Satisfy's news channel, who is at the scene to collect information. Youngwoo moves 10 channels, all 11 channels report on Satisfy. This game is floating. Not joking, if I become an idol of young people, maybe I will be able to eat noodles on the table arranged by some money piles. But Gyeong-min is reporting directly at Satan Temple located in the southern kingdom of Eternal. As you saw last night, it collapsed. What happened here? Hearing that, Young-woo immediately spit out a piece of noodles and put it in his mouth. Widen your eyes and watch at the TV to see the news. The main cause of the accident is none other than the dark magician Yura looking at the situation of the temple. We believe that there has been a fierce battle here. Now let's interview a few witnesses. Mushroom's head recounted yesterday was being hidden by the monster hearing a loud noise. Yura was shooting a super huge magic at some guy. The super nice Yura is always the whole family. The MC reminds Lockday and the new mushroom head continues to tell. After that, there was a more terrible thing. Ms. Yura used the ultimate magic. But he was attacked and still standing without being built. Lee Kyung-min was surprised to speculate that it was the top tanker. Maybe Yura could not identify celebrities. But the mushroom head was busy watching the beautiful girl and being crushed to death. So I did not know who it was. Players around the world have the same question, who is that player? So Young-woo's famous dream came true. This means that you are rich. What miracle is this? It turns out that dying is not over, life is fair. Young-woo hurriedly grabbed the phone to call the customer care center, saying that the guy in Satan Temple was me here. The other end of the line asks, "What is your character's name?" He rejoiced as Grid. "So how much is the level? I am the sound of 3. Immediately after that answer was a long bend. Young-woo collapsed and sat down and scolded. It was all because of the bastard Yura. At this moment, the MC announced that there were pictures at the scene for everyone to see. A girl who was a man walked out from the rubble. It turned out that Doran saved Irene. But in him is not very good. He must think again and again. Doran has to weigh Yura. But looking at Irene cried so miserably, I knew my brother was going to the ghost family. Although Doran is only a NPC, he is still a good person. With a delicious ring I refuse to give me, hitting the overlapping skin. Young-woo is about to sleep then. There is hot news. Blue Hair MC introduces a player who has been attracting recent attention. Then she told the guest to greet the audience a few sentences. He quickly asked everyone knew me right, anicaps, a warrior from Japan with level 203. Young-woo's impression about this name is not very good, hearing where he is the son of a certain corporation, the way he talks, to listen to itchy ears. At this time, the MC wants Cats to share the secret to soaring to rank 53. How to increase 30 levels in a month. Young-woo heard that, and then woke up and cried out, how could he get 70? And it took a whole year. Cats did not bother to answer that question but kicked through another story. The player in the head of the Korean server now is Yura. Isn't it? MC has just confirmed this news. He has been aggressively declaring that Yura is out of time. I will climb to the top 1 and trample on her pride. Young-woo finished listening to the face of 53rd name, what could be done in the 5th person, even though I did not like her, but I had to recognize her as a monster. At this time, Cats has just revealed his secret lying in this sword. It looks good, but Young-woo still feels nothing very special, while Cats is complacent. Everyone widened her eyes to see if I exploded or not. He just finished speaking. Countless blood vessels running on the blade looked terrifying. Young-woo distorted the bad taste of this name. Meanwhile, Cats is proud to show off. This is his intrinsic skill. Any weapon in my hand is transformed into this form. More importantly, I can absorb blood in the ratio of attack. The more hit, the amount of blood is received. Even the speed of hunting will increase with... Blue Hair MC has never heard any skill like this because Cats received it 3 months ago. Blood Warrior is Cats' new epic class. Another hidden class. Young-woo did not expect to rely on the skills of the class that he had leveled up so quickly. So he also wanted to try to see how dangerous Pagma's transmission... 12 hours passed. Young-woo logged into the game, is taken to the town of Hainan. It seems that I have been here before. I have been on the duty of Asher. It seems that I am not revived in the temple because I have become their enemies. At this moment, there was a blue hair-voiced recruitment of the magician, level 130 or more went to the moneyed ruins. Another name recruited players at level 200 or more to attack the guards of the old forest to exploit the blue ore. Seeing that they only recruited me above 100, Youngwoo built his face, but also understood for them, because there was only a whole beach on level 100. A sound. Level guy like he's still standing here will starve to death. First must go to the right place. Youngwoo thinks riding a horsepower is the safest. Should go to ask where the driver is safe, but most recently, he immediately responded to the new player when he went to Winston's village. He lost 10 gold. Youngwoo hurriedly checked the money when only 3 gold, 11 gold. Before he could not be chased by his uncle right away. Youngwoo wondered if he had not said anything. Then he was coldly asked you to say that his cheek was seriously sick. He honestly said yes, he only received 3 words, dumb and quail. Youngwoo only knew how sad to sit in a corner of his responsibility. Perhaps he sat still and died like this. If I didn't spend a lot of money on Asher, I wouldn't have to live this beggar, so now I just a useless class with 3 level. At this moment, Youngwoo suddenly remembered that he was Pagma's transmission. If he made itself, he would earn money and level up. Finally, there is hope. He quickly escaped into a small alley, the wall of the forest circuit, so everything must be discreet. The first is the technique of forging master. The attribute of all items increased by 10%. So when making items, Youngwoo's index and fame will also increase. He will start with a maximum master's skill, and the legend is at level 1 heard that the best blacksmith only reaches the middle level, just to call it smooth. The most attractive is the manufacturing skill that helps me have the unique method of making clothes, that is, I can do anything with 3 free tries. If the epic class was as delicious as that, then the legend would kick it all right away. The system activates the skills of the legendary blacksmith. Please choose the type of item you want to create. Of course, debao swords like cats. The stronger the sword, the faster the monster hunts, and the easier to level up. The system requires ingredients. Youngwoo paused a bit because of the strong type. It was the blue ore just now. The system continues to ask him to design items and describe its characteristics. This time, the design panel appeared in front of Youngwoo for him to be comfortable and creative. The sword must be cool, so strong as sharks must have a firmness but still have to be light. Look dark, but still have to play. The attack power is over 10 million each time the sword is swung. The meteorite falls perforated every defense for a hit to kill. The more Youngwoo painted, the more. Finally draw a sword like a baby shark. He looked at his masterpiece. Then self. Traveling too cool, it is like a product between sharks and anchovies. Suddenly, the notice system automatically completed, which is adjusting between synthesizing characteristics, properties, and raw materials. Youngwoo rolled his eyes to look at the system that is automatically cultivating for the sword. It seems that I have described it too much. The screen with a few numbers appear too much. Suddenly, a series of parameters ran through his head. The process has been completed. Youngwoo is not sure why I understand that pile of terms. This is a new design due to the star effect. It feels like I am a real blacksmith looking at the sword in front of you with the durability of 1090. The attack power is 1820, defending 80, agile 50. He could not help but feel happy, but happily laughed. The pile of characters he created is not only adjusted accordingly, there are many other characteristics. Now just need to earn more colors from the forest guards. Are thinking because they only recruit enamels on level 200. Then he was even more attentive to the request of the character above 300. The player at the top of the rankings was only level 250. And there is all the skill points, and the power index is not enough, 5,000. The best blacksmith player also has only intermediate skills to achieve 8 high-end swords, even more difficult to go to the sky. In other words, this sword is just a piece of iron with perfect skill, the headquarters of the shark. The night is distorted, just a pile of shit no less. Waiting for Youngwoo to remember one important thing, how to drill. It's not that I can't use it. I am not affected by the equipment requirements. Even the dishes I wear? Although it will be reduced strength because it does not meet the equipment requirements, this sword is still a strong weapon if I can make it. Now Youngwoo has determined the goal. Must find ways to participate in the other group and eat badly, but the 3 level can make rice porridge. Surprisingly surprised when he wanted to join his group. Should repeat the minimum requirement of level 90. Look at your equipment, you guessed the level 60. So Youngwoo hurriedly slashed the wind. I looked so cowardly, but on that level 100 I don't need to equip it strongly. Anyone who shy him accidentally made them boil blood because he thought he was sarcasm. He could only rely on equipment. A beggar could not have an accessory. It is about to eat us, dare to say that it lies the case. It is on level 100. If you want to play with us, you must know what Young Woo is captured so you don't dare to cough anything. At this moment, there was a person who came to tell everyone. The handsome guy named Regas stood out and said so that he could do logistics while fighting. Everyone just saw him whispered continuously. Regas was the first class on the martial arts rankings. His nickname is the Master of Taekwondo. Everyone of the martial arts class who has a very high equipment requirement, so the leveling is not favorable, but he is at level 180 already. Young Woo finished listening. It was a little sad and the ranker was still handsome. The god was so fair. Meanwhile, Cam HOC is telling Regas not to choose indiscriminately. How can we accept an anonymous player in our group? Regas innocently said that the cleaner the surroundings, the easier it is to clean up. Young Woo immediately followed me. Although he did not like his appearance, he had to admit that he was handsome and kind. It was true that the perfect man. Orange hair is still hesitant. Young Woo thinks that guy must listen to the big brother. Please Regas what to say quickly. As his desire, Regas spoke real, but suggested that a solo test of Young Woo, as long as he proved his level, there would be no problem anymore. Young Woo finished listening to it. Leave the by then, fly while his face is pale as a fake. Regas is comfortable to relax, ready to let him clear the ass yet. Of course, Orange Hair does not react to this. Proposal is about to turn to ask Young Woo. I saw my grandchildren running away apologizing to you guys. I remembered to study online. I went before. Regas said how to run the school is fine. It is true that ready to eat food is nothing free. Young Woo has to think about how to make a horse-drawn rental first. The system suddenly appeared to tell him to name the item just designed. But Young Woo is not free to name this garbage. Anyway, he has grasped the basic steps. The skills of manufacturing are limited to the number of items, so he is only used when needed. From now on, Young Woo has to make money to travel and learn more about map. He named the shark sword to motivate. This is just the beginning. Not long after Smithy's forging shop, Young Woo is being chased by the blacksmith like evil. Shut up right away, you are going to sell the design of the item, the baby kid's milk. You despise the blacksmith, huh? The kids today want to not do, but want to eat. Young Woo shrugged and replied nothing big, the old man, just this time. Smithy just said coldly because you were a boy who had not tasted life, so let me tell me, those who despise others and those who are greedy never do anything. Do not be stubborn and go out. Young Woo sadly put his head on the coal wall. This is the only way I can earn money. Maybe I just died in this town. Who doubted Smithy came out again because he could not stare at him like that. He told him not to cry anymore. The kid will bother the neighbor. Go tight to help me with a few wooden bars. The system notifies the task of cutting firewood cutting 500 wooden bars with a reward of 10 experiences and 20 dong. So duckweed, but Young Woo still had to bite his teeth and do it. You have just cut the firewood and consider how long it takes to have a normal mission, but can go to the level. There are things in this game that Titan firewood also requires skills. Do not know if the assessment can help anything. After inspecting the alarm system, this is only an old axe. At the same time, his understanding with the old axe has reached 100%, so he learned how to make it, did not expect to eat 100% at the first time. But knowing it is still different in reality. Suddenly, Young Woo saw the instructions of the firewood that appeared. He immediately added the axe. The firewood was cut in half in just one hit. Make him happy if the understanding is 100% with a legendary item, then the top is too easy to race. I will complete this task quickly. The big neck is so big, but 2 hours later, Young Woo has not breathed out. This foaming physical body will be able to tighten 150 pieces of firewood. But he insisted on not giving up, but putting his strength in the end to get up. If you want to get rid of this place, you will not take a break. Young Woo constantly encourages himself to try a little more. One more, definitely not to give up. Thanks to that success, opened the persistent index. What is Young Woo suddenly shouting? The system immediately appears with durable skills. You will not easily feel tired. Every 10 points of allocation index will add 1 point to the indomitable index. How much is it good for Young Woo? Must take advantage of this time to finish. Time goes on at Smithy's forging shop. Every piece of firewood is tightly arranged neatly, and Young Woo is crushed on the pile of firewood. Smithy was surprised at the end of the seasons when he saw this man. He was tightly cut 1,000 wooden bars in 6 hours. Young Woo is tired but still confidently said, that looks like that, but I a good blacksmith. Smithy laughed at his face, sick as addicted but also a blacksmith. However, if you do the task of exploiting Grade F mine, Smithy may think again. 55 experience points will help Young Woo return to level 0, so you get the rafter, and always. 3 hours later at the mining area. Young Woo breathed pink because he had a 3-minute walk for a 30-minute road. Also because he leveled the sound racing to wear 60 equipment, so the speed was stagnant to this size, wanted to escape so much. However, the work is still there, so it cannot be slower. But the work is still there, so it cannot be slower anymore. The clouds have been dug in this news that he is sent by Smithy here. Immediately mocked him to see this only entangled. So he just went to work to not affect them. After saying that, he left his mouth mumbled with Smithy, knowing what we were busy and sending new people to do whoever was free, but only a little bit. Any doubt that just turned away for a few seconds was startled, because the sparkling iron ore is constantly falling. After each hoe of Young Woo, Cam's hair was surprised because the iron digging was like digging soil, while the other was surprised because he was still wearing armor. Young Woo's body seemed to be broken, but his mind was still lucid. Smithy told him not to be stubborn here anymore, but he still stayed in the mines to the dark, constantly plowing like a hard-working bee, causing the 2-gate to despise him in the morning. He had to admit that he was wrong because he looked at his face. Others also assert he will become a good miner in the future. Young Woo peached hard, until the announcement has been dug 170 iron ore, just temporarily resting and screaming. Dappled is his most powerful weapon. The sunshine is extremely beautiful and beautiful. The system appears, you have reached level 1, the previous indicators have been reduced to the maximum by the penalty of the negative level, now will be restored to the normal state. Grid attentively looked at the system table. The basic index of Pagma's experts was restored. Sweating pictures of sweat signed in a breath, finally returned to level 1. The total basic index of the player usually from level 1 is only 22, but the expert of Pagma has 165. If including the durable point has just been opened earlier, with Indomitable from the Indomitable, the total will be 182. The system shows the current physical report of the player: blood 280 on 280, mana 75 on 75, power of 20 plus 5, physical strength 18, durable 20, 10, clear 10, skill score 40, capacity 30-35 of 820. He suddenly startled, drilled 40 skill points each level up will have 10 points, so how do I have 40? He understood I plowed to 4 levels from Sound 3 to level 1, definitely hacked the game. Smithy looked at him, full of nutrition. Please apologize, I don't know how to be so excellent, so embarrassed. The system shows the notice Smithy friendly has increased 60. Your reputation in the town of Hainan increases 200. Grid stiff glue spray. Smithy continues to be pungent. That's all. Don't be angry with me. We're a blacksmith. Grid tries to struggle. EC, the old man away from me. You look at the blacksmith anyway. Let me see some money to sell a little money. I need money to ride a carriage. He turned his back to look behind. Here he is ready. He brought an arrow to tell Grid that was the Jaffa arrow to the newly forged person. This is the right dish. He looked at the arrow in his hand. An arrow, how much these things sold, do not rush. It is an arrow with steel ingredients mixed with Jaffa. That, Smithy calmly responded to him. Its effect is to ignore a part of the enemy's defense when exploring it. It is an effective weapon to fight golem like the old forest guards. You look at the arrow. Oh, there is prospect now. I examine it. The system shows the notice. The Jaffa arrow price is priced at 6 silver. Rarely. The attack power 20 to 26 weighs 0.1. Your knowledge of the Jaffa arrow reaches 89%. You can use Jaffa arrow in a skillful manner. Grid signed in a breath, only 89%. Maybe I have to remove it, to be able to learn the manufacturing method. Smithy blushed at him. Let him show him the method of manufacturing. Let's go. He sighed, his face always the same. He let the furnace burn, first heat the iron ore by putting it in the furnace. After that, we have to remove limestone and impurities from the iron part. To cool the molten iron, we will obtain cast iron, but it still has not made weapons before forging weapons. The kid must reduce the carbon component in the cast iron down by the steel training process. Smithy wiped the sweat on the forehead, finished it was the metal melting process, then practiced with Jaffa ore. Adjusting the metal ratio is quite difficult. Grid confidently said of course he had to take each shovel into the furnace. I have carefully monitored the movements of the blacksmith, even though it is a practical game like Satisfy. The study is quite easy moreover for me. I have something to help simplify my career. He both scooped up and stepped on a blower evenly as a professional blacksmith. These signs are the direction and intensity of the blow. It is still less than 5 minutes that I have heated the furnace, the notification system, the transmission of pagma sensitive to the temperature. You can correctly adjust the temperature of the furnace. The system shows up the temperature of the furnace, 700 degrees Celsius, 720 degrees C, 730 degrees Celsius. He thought to the top there was a detailed notification window of this level of temperature. This type is not new success. He looks full of hope. The system shows a notice. The task of completing, you get 80 points of experience. Your friendliness with Smithy increased, 30. You receive 3 Jaffa bars. Grid was extremely happy. It was easy to VCL. Smithy looked at him with saliva. Great pet, clem clem. He was startled. Backwards, old man, don't threaten me. Smithy coaxed him. Every step was perfect, even though he had never had this experience in this previous job. You are not merely talented, we seem to be witnessing Pagma reborn. He thought not necessarily reborn. The notice system you have increased 1 level, the current level is 2. Smithy continued to guide him. He poured the solution into the mold. Now we will make the arrow tip continue to burn and mix the metal lips together and pour into the mold. Let cool for 40 minutes, we will have an arrow like this. Now bring it to the threat. When beating the hammer, the kid must pay attention to the balance between the 2 sides and remember to sharpen the edge. Finally, attach the arrow tip to the arrow axis to increase the penetration. We must balance the weight between the arrow and the fur. Done, you think I can do it? The notification display system, you are learning the Jaffa arrow manufacturing method. He smiled quietly, of course. The system shows another notice. Your understanding of the Jaffa arrow reaches 100%. Smithy looked at him generously. He was comfortable using the material. I will watch. Just do it. Smithy looked at his movements, thinking that he was not wrong, that boy was not trivial. The way he handled the molten metal is the level of the mastery. Smithy picked up the wooden bar umbrella. I forgot how to make an arrow while waiting for the metal to cool. Let me do it. Grid was sweating. No need. I could do it myself. Smithy widened his eyes. The system shows announcements, manufacturing items, garbage tilapia, hose, Jaffa arrows, metal ratio, manufacturing methods, arrows, grid. Looks at the system and thinks, because when my understanding reaches 100%, the way to make arrow axis is also added. I just need to stand and see if the understanding still increases with the increase. Although now the first list I can make is very small, but it will be a long list of the listless list now, I can still do it. Straighten the bent parts after cutting them evenly, make the tail with feathers into the glue. Thanks to the inner class and the high point of agility that I do these things very effectively. Only a moment that Grid did countless Jaffa arrows. Smithy is dumb extraordinary, you can do it after just one look, huh? Grid dipped in the tip of the arrow in the water pot but was stopped by Smithy. What are you doing if you do that, although it will be harder but the durability will be greatly reduced? Grid comforted Smithy. Don't worry, I intend to resume it again. Smithy saw this scene extremely unexpected. That was the method of my steel. But doing it was a bit too high for an arrow. You will not have much production time if using this method. He sweated mutually to ask Smithy if I do it better. I will sell the price higher, right? He secretly determined in his heart, an anonymous person like himself, that he wanted to succeed. Then this is the only way. He knocked on each hammer to the arrow. Smithy looked at him admiring now just attached to it. Kid Honey is a bit long ago. He touched the arrow he made, how fascinating his career was full of manual labor. But the first time I felt this happy, like this. Suddenly, there was a strange light emitted. I finished the arrow. Now, I am the old mission. The system appears. The breath of the legendary blacksmith has been activated. The arrow that he made a strong source of power. He suddenly shouted, what the hell was this? Grid looked down and said that he was finished. Now, he was finished. Now, the old mission. But in a mistake, suddenly the system showed that the legendary blacksmith's breath was active. At that moment, the arrow of Young Woo was holding a purple halo surrounded by electric shock as Young Woo rolled his eyes to look at it intently. Then the system shows again the breath of the legendary blacksmith, level 1. Sophisticated Jaffa arrow, epic rarity attack power, 35 to 42, weight 0.1. Ignoring a part of the enemy's defense has the rate of ignoring the enemy's defenses, reading all its data. Grid looks at the arrow that is radiating the glittering halo. He continues to continue the system of the system. Create an item with rarity. All the permanent indicators increase to 4. Your reputation increases 80 on the continent. You receive 300 experience points. You are currently at high school. Grid finished reading. He rolled his eyes and thought that, ignoring the case, this dish was epic there. Suddenly, the smithy blacksmith touched his shoulder and said it was wonderful. The new apprentice that he had made an epic arrow. He didn't feel happy, thought that Grid would be excited. But when he turned his face out, then his eyes were teary. Mr. Smithy saw that, immediately asked what was the dissatisfied face. In his heart pain, his mother was in reality. He should have been an epic sword. Grid. At this time he continued to kick his eyes and looked down at the arrow, he thought, but thinking back, among all the arrows no one would overcome. 40 attacks not over, and add the inner to completely ignore the defense again. His skill effect is 2 peak. This arrow alone is stronger than most 20-level weapons out there. After a while, Smithy asked, "So much the boy stayed again not open?" Grid bluntly replied that staying for him to find me, rest assured, predestined to see again. Grid bluntly replied that staying for him to grope, rest assured he will meet again. Then Smithy suddenly offers a pile of things that he deserves to have. These things take it away. The system board now announced that you received 100 Jaffa arrows. You received 3 Jaffa bars. Grid happily accepted that pile of things. He thought was it because of his high friendliness. He was so generous. And then he replied that he took care of me very well. I was honest, grateful to him for everything. Smithy heard the thank you, so blushing shyly said, "If we were together it was good." Grid saw that gesture of Smithy. His face was pale and said that stopping the game. "Thunder, the old man, shut up my mouth." Afterward, he put on the other arrow on his shoulder to think that although this gift is valuable, but bringing it to the town will be very bulky. Just sell them and have money to leave. Starting today, Grid, we will bring this game such great items. Thinking that he just left there, he turned down to say goodbye to Smithy. The transition to the raid at the guards of the jungle in a certain forest. Suddenly, there were 2 adventurers falling down to the ground. In front of them at that time were 2 golem stones coming to attack them. They stood up and called for an hour. But right now, there was suddenly an arrow that was streaming behind that golem. That arrow one shot to fly its head. As Jishuka Tzedaka presidents, she just shot the other arrow majestic. This fool did not pay attention to my warning. "If you want to live, hurry up the leg, Zedekiah Regas." While saying very much, the son named Regas, a member of Zedekiah, came. He took the punch to the punch. A Tobin shield also comes from Zedekiah. Then Vantner, member from Zedekiah, rushed up with his 2 kite trees. After a while, after the raid, Jishuka stood there silently watching the adventurers at his feet disappeared. She muttered to say to her troops, "Only a few people left. Just slowly face the boss, but it has spread to death." The damage was too terrible, saying that she looked down at the golem who had an open injury on her shoulder and was falling down. After finishing fighting, they gathered that, however, we have already completed the task, so we collect what? 30 black ore, 7 or calcum ore. Suddenly, Regas asked the amethyst shield had a low drop rate and was okay. Vantner replied that at least we also have Orishhalcum lames and then fight all day and lose with losing. But suddenly Jisuka asked Taban how many people were dead. Taban immediately responded, including a guild member of 75 people, while the main force is dealing with the boss. Then behind the golem, the attack is detrimental to our troops. Hearing that, Jishuka gritted her teeth and thought that this S-level task series is harder than we imagined. We have to find another way. Scenes to Hainan village. Jishuka sat down on the fountain. She said it was the 4th raid, and the results were still impossible for the player. The value of the jungle guards is declining. This momentum, the quality of our troops will decrease significantly. At this time, the system explained that the Zedekiah Guild is an association created with the members who are high-rank players, but because the number of members is small, their influence is not large. Before the Satisfy was released, 17 members stood side by side in the game LTS. Because the number of limitations was limited, they often had to hunt with other players, but this method always had a limit. Suddenly, Toban suddenly asked, or temporarily ignored that exit to focus on increasing power. Regas was bewildered. Whatever I could as long as I was beaten. Manner said sexuality was unchanged, slowly moving forward. Hearing everyone's answer, Jishuka stood up and told that, "Okay, we order all Zedekiah members to focus on increasing and enhancing equipment within 3 months. Those who do not get up to at least 15 levels will be eliminated." Regas, for him it would be 20 levels. Hearing that, his face pale, Vantner stood there and laughed and said, so bad he knew her plan. He would die. He would die. Really. After a while, Jashuka went to the auction floor right at the receptionist, showing me the arrow. Afterward, she thought that the current situation of the guild was very decided. At first, the guild she attracted a lot of attention, but now, no one wants to mind stop. First buy a few arrows of reserves, huh? Just think, she just opened the price list. Seeing the price a bit high, she thought this guy was stupid, surely sold the arrow with the price 3 times higher than the market price. But something caught Jashuka's eyes, made her rolled her eyes. It was that Jaffa arrow. She felt it was surprised to shout that color purple star they were epic. At this time, the system shows up with the information line that the Jaffa arrow is sophisticated, the rarity. The epic, the attack power 35 to 42, weighs 0.1, ignores. A part of the enemy's defense, has the rate of completely ignoring the enemy's defense. Seeing that, Jashuka opened his mouth and thought, no, impossible. I used to make an arrow from all blacksmiths, but no. I didn't even know that there was an arrow like this. Moreover, its characteristics are like hacking. This may be a key weapon in a high-level battle. I have to fight it right away, but who can make it? If not the top 2 of the blacksmith, Paneer and Sting. So whether someone has overcome them already. Scenes to a restaurant. Regas hugged his head to complain that, dear, how could I increase 20 levels in 3 months? He knew Jashuka's nature listening to Regas, so he heard this name. Van Nu said, thinking carefully when she said she would kill us. He was sure she was serious. His last meal let him pay open his mouth, saying, Vantner just held the chicken thighs before Regas. Regas's face grimaced. Mr. Vantner, do not scare me more. Suddenly at this moment there was a notice that appeared before Vantner. He saw that he wondered hung the guild notified. Suddenly she told us looking for blacksmiths. The notice board showed the information line that looking for blacksmiths in the top 100, that the character level was smaller than the skill level. Hearing this news, Regas stood up irritable, but she said that she had to increase the level just now that the owner was too worthy. But not long ago the announcement showed that if they were good, she went died. Right now. Regas turned her face. He took the stuffed animal somewhere. Oh, it was silent, just said that this good. He knew that he was good. Right? Vantner saw that Regas turned his face so quickly. Did you read the message? He was crazy less than a second. Right now, the continued notification system that player has the skill that can help us complete the guards of the old jungle. Suddenly Manor stood up and told her that she seemed to be very sure I was looking for that guy. Seen to Jashuka, she walked and thought that our guild had members who achieved the top 3 rank class in just half a year. Because of that self-esteem, the guild we did not accept new members. Although we are not famous or influenced like other big guilds, our strength is still recognized even holding power in our hands. That is our guild Tzedakah if he is better than Paneer and Sting. That means that his equipment is far beyond the original equipment. All guilds in the continent will definitely go crazy and hunt for this name. We have to go ahead of them. Scenes to a forest where there are quarries. There is a sound that says that, then really I also heard them rumors. A rather powerful guild searching for a blacksmith. Maybe he created something good. Can satisfy are the Paneer, now heard. At this time, Paneer, who reached the top of a blacksmith, looked at the notice in front of him. After that, he said that I just read the news, an epic arrow. After that, he just looked at the data of that Jaffa arrow that was introducing that an arrow made by a master blacksmith with super skilled skills and talent, but lack of experience and reputation. Thanks to the combination of iron and Jaffa, the arrow has a high penetration and can ignore a part of the opponent's defense. He reads that he thinks that he is made by a superior skill, but the talented skill, but the prestigious skill. The name, even I am not called a master blacksmith in the introduction, although it is only twice, but I am the first person to create items that I have thought that I am the one who spent more effort than anyone. But this guy, he is that is. The conversion of the scene somewhere, there was a cup of noodles that had finished eating on the table. Is Shin Young-woo yawning and thinking that when the office is open here, time gradually passed. Somewhere there was a voice that reminded everyone to be careful. The construction site was very dangerous. Now I will read the name of each job, a construction site. Shin Woo is looking for 4 workers. Hearing that Shin Young-woo poked her head out, let me. But he accidentally hit him in front of him. He was touched, but did not call and shouted. Shin Young-woo saw that he stared at him thinking what was so evil. But a little young people go. Then the other recruiting name in the next announcement. I need 3 experienced brick workers. As soon as she finished listening to Shin Young-woo raised her hand and asked me, But before she could finish talking, there was an uncle and went out to call here. Shin Young-woo was irritable, so he shouted this old gate, "I am trying to make a living. Don't scramble for the old gate and behave like children." The old gate heard down and looked at him bewildered. The recruitment name sighed. "Let's stop. We should not quarrel here. Now is electric pulling 11,001 each." Hearing this job, Shin Young-woo thought that this was no need last year. I tried it and the result was taken over the hospital ghost. But suddenly the old man, standing next to him, held up his hand. Shin Young-woo was bewildered. After that, the recruitment name just pulled him away. "Let's go. We will be very happy. Young-woo is structured." "Hey," the old gate asked. The old gate who ignored him, everyone turned away. Scenes to some apartment. Shin Young-woo, pale face, son, go here. My parents saw that nothing had gone to work, so I asked where did I go in the morning? "Sit in breakfast." Young-woo turned down and went to the office to work late. But his father said, "Come here to sit a little." Seeing my father, he obediently came out thinking that I was in a hurry. And what did you say? If I paid all the interest, the savings only had 9221. But when Young-woo just sat down, his father gave some money to say that he would give him money with his salary today. So at home, seeing that Young-woo faltered, Dad, my minimum wage is 90,000 duckweed." Shin Se-hee sat next to seeing her brother sighing. She said, "God, don't bother to thank Dad for a sentence." And holding this one more, I prepared the bath. Relaxed, said she took out the book something for him. Seeing the strange thing from his family like that, Young-woo thought now, he noticed often leaving the house very early to go to the fruit store. Could he stay at home just because he wanted to eat meals with me? Everybody, my family was the number one just after thinking. Young-woo bluntly continued. So Dad paid the debt to help me, but after finishing the rice bowl, threw it straight at his face. Then he logged into the world. Young-woo appears in the middle of the escape. He sighed and lamented that resting for a bit and playing the game is good, but thinking about the amount of money in the account after paying the debt is too boring to know how much the arrow sold. His only property must quickly move to other places elsewhere. But muttering, what did he see on the notification board? Then he kept his hands in and called Kaya. He saw the arrow out on the auction board. He panicked. "Oh, joking, why is this? Even if it is an epic class, why is there a dozen times higher than the ordinary arrow?" Afterward, he was excited to think that 99x72 silver. We have a total of 71 gold. 28 silver gold every 100 golden, converted to 120,001. That is, I have earned 80,001 in just 6 hours from now on. I will no longer have to go to the office anymore. Just thought he was interested in the auction counters. Mr. Bao gave me money. 71 gold. The receptionist heard that and took it out to say that the tax of the epic item was 15% here, 60 gold, 59 silver. Heard that Grid muttered the capitalist flood for death. Well, if I can make money by making things, there's nothing to leave. Well, the danger of leaving it now in his mind, he remembered Smithy was blushing and shyly cooing could live here with this me. After a while, Grid sat on the carriage. He complained that, "What is the price of 8 gold and 90 silver? Cut the neck too much." The old man drove a calm car. His children, we discounted the price and did not know how to thank the horse. Driving was very easy. Then suddenly Grid asked Uncle I said that the new village called Winston out. The old man replied, "Yeah, heard that it would soon become a city because of the population. It seemed that the heir of the Star family would be the new lord there." Hearing the name, so Grid mumbled steam south. This name sounded familiar, but suddenly the car drove looking we were close to the place already. Right in front of them is a high citadel. Grid sat there and saw that the figure of the citadel. He laughed softly, finally coming. Transferring into that fortress between the flow of people walking back and forth, Grid was surprised to say that, wow, in a bigger than the village of Hainan, the street looked more bustling. Start playing properly first. Have to rearrange the bag, board the capacity that makes me move slowly. Just put all the special things into the warehouse. Only this one just said Grid just opened the bag containing the Mammon Sword Headquarters, Engel Armor Intermediate Blood Bottle with 34 vials high, Class Blood Bottles with 27 jars, Intermediate Power Vase with 2 vials, Intermediate Agile Bottles with 2 vials, Delicate Jaffa Arrows, Jaffa Bars have 3. But seeing a little bit Grid went to the armor he was wearing, he mumbled that shit was forgotten. I should assess the armor and weapons first. If my understanding increased, the limitation also decreased, right? At this time, the system shows information. Your understanding of the headquarters of Mammon reaches 33%. Your understanding of the price of Engel is 65%. Unlike the axe, it does not increase a circuit to 100% right away. But muttering suddenly, his index soared as a notification system. Thanks to the increase in understanding, the limitation will be adjusted. Adjusted to limit the power of the attack from 30% to 20%, the armor angel adjusted to limit the defense capacity of 20% to 8%. Grid was surprised because the index changed in such a moment. For a moment. He enjoyed touching the armor on his body and said, "Delicious, at least it must be like this. By the way, their average has decreased a little. If I am fixed, the understanding will increase. But now just give priority to make money." Then Grid goes on the warehouse and think that because I need to have the strength to make things, I should take it away, to take away things. Going to Grid said, "Let me open a warehouse." The name of the store owner bluntly said, "Ask for 30 silver uncle, add 10 silver each, more see the price of the neck cut." So Grid's face pale, mumbling that money, open mouth is money. Then he put things into the warehouse to continue, or he would probably temporarily put the armor and sword in. I will follow this epic arrow like a souvenir, but take an arrow in the whole 10 silver after finishing the other armor. Grid enjoyed happy feeling like flying, so I went to look for a forging shop to be hot. As soon as he finished speaking, he went out. He looked around and muttered that, looking at their equipment, I guessed that the new player was all new, and this side was equipped with any level, so that was any level of stars. Surely, the forging shop on this side always. After knowing the way, Grid went to a massive blacksmith. He looked up and said he was so scary. Surely the blacksmith must be from professional level or more. This means that you will be loved. At this time, the system shows that the skill of the masters, the intrinsic effect, you will be treated priority by the NPC of professional blacksmith or more. Look at the time when Grid opened the door and cried, "Hello." But caught in his eyes is a vacant land without a shadow. So Grid said, "Why is it empty?" But suddenly there was a sound of asking who. Grid heard that noise should look at the response. It seems that someone is here. An old man was lying on the bed. He sat up and asked, what did he come here to do? Grid just looked at him. He just replied, I came because I wanted to ask how to make the most expensive dish here. He helped me. He did not look surprised, but just bowed down and sighed, hair. Mero Group is devaluing tons of items at a cheaper price than the market. So it is not a while here for a while. In other words, this place was closed. Hearing this, Grid was surprised, startled, and asked again why. Done, he thought, and thought so. Bothered, then he asked, so around here there was still a shop, but after finishing, there was a scream. Hey, old man. Old man. Hearing that loud noise, Grid turned down. He saw a bunch of fake adventurers coming in. He was still going to hesitate, until while I still talked kindly, he quickly delivered to this building. Seeing that the Grid's face seemed obvious, he thought that his left eye blinked for a while, who expected it to be terrible. Then the other guy took out the paper, with the content, the house sales contract, the con, the owner of the shop, to win the con, will sell the shop, and the business rights to the hero group for 20,000 gold and hydras. He said that signing the contract quickly for us to come home, we have a limited limit. Grid read that paper. He bewildered that a contract is the right to own the building and business. Is that the famous giant hero corporation? Do not know what is going on. But just going ahead is better. Just thinking that Grid and Jar goes out. But the other guy didn't let him go, but he still turned to ask, hey, see the contract, right? Where to go? So in a hurry, you are the spy of Skater Group. Seeing him ask so, Grid was thinking, oh, he must be a mercenary of hero group players, can sometimes be killed by NPC criminals. But this guy looks at level 35 fake, and avoid conflicts is better. After thinking about Grid, he smiled slightly. He not now big brother. I just came to this town, so I went a little lost. The other guy did not doubt anything, but told me, yeah, it looked like that. Stop going. Go away. 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 Con, after reading the paper earlier, Mr. Bao the Flood, you are destroying my 7-year-old manager. The other guy should only be shouted in the other. So carefully, the old man knew how many troubles we had because of him. Oh, that's right. He must give half the money from the contract for us. Have you heard? Grid stood behind him to see them just so he thought he had been fasting. After that, one of them began to let go of provocative words. Wright heard that his only son had passed away from the epidemic. Don't be stubborn, or this place is his grave. Seeing them like that, Mr. Khan could not help it anymore. Not to talk about my son with that rotten mouth. Grid stood by his side, uncomfortably cursing that damn calm. You are not the hero. Just go, this is not your job, but that old man will be okay. Right now, his body was strengthened with a stream of power. The system table showed that the task, the Wrath of the Bee Blacksmith, was initiated. Seeing the strange thing, Grid was startled and thought, what a mission in this situation. Then he glanced down to read the system board that was announcing the mission. The B-rank blacksmith's rage exterminated the thugs sent by the Marrow Group, then destroyed the blacksmith handover contract table. Mission reward: Khan's alcoholism would be cured. Khan's affinity would reach the maximum reward for accepting the mission. Initialize the blacksmith's rage skill. If the mission failed, Khan would die a few days later, and all missions related to him would disappear. After reading, Grid thought to himself, there was even a reward for accepting the mission. Another skill. Because the reward is a career skill, I have to accept it, of course. What can I use? The first is the patience skill of the legendary blacksmith. The system table shows the detail that the perseverance of the legendary blacksmith, increasing 200% of blood, defensive, and skillful index within an hour. Then Grid remembered the memory before he was fighting. Grid thought added internal skills to help him have 5 seconds of immortality when blood touched. And finally, the indicators of level 20. The problem is that all equipment has been stored in the warehouse, so I currently have no weapons. Wait, it was the epic arrow. Just thought he had just glanced down. Grid picked up his arrow. The system of the system immediately appeared. The arrow of Jaffa was sophisticated. The rarity, the epic, the attack power from 35 to 42, ignoring a part of the opponent's defense, with a certain rate of completely ignoring the enemy's defense. Then Grid gripped the arrow tightly and thought, although the attack was low, but as long as the activation was completely ignored, the enemy's defense, I will have the opportunity. After that, Grid said, insolent with the elderly, the preschool teacher of the boys died. The other guy heard down and asked why. Mr. Khan was surprised when he saw Grid speaking out. He rolled his eyes and asked he why. The other guy looked down at Grid, asking, what are you lingering here? Grid pointed the arrow in front of the other guy, the metal whose gypsy was also a good or right, the uneducated flood. Listening to Grid, so humiliated they shouted, irritable, what floods? You dare to say that when we left you? What do you plan to do with that arrow? Take the eyes to disappear. But Grid was not afraid. He laughed softly. I could not only be... I just had a new weapon right now. The notice system you received, the skill Wrath of the Blacksmith saw. It is, Grid shouted. Slashed enough and touched each other, said he triggered the new skills. The Wrath of the Blacksmith. Level 1 increased by 10% of the attack power and increased 30% of the attack speed for 20 seconds. Recovery time, 60 seconds. At this moment, the other man swung the sword up, then slashed at Grid, but he promptly dodged it. After that, Grid ran away. He glanced down at the other to think that, why did he low and so fast? I have to create an advantage. After that, he kicked his eyes around and saw a staircase, so he thought delicious. Then Grid ran up that staircase and shouted, whoever went here, I asked. The other people were not afraid to run to the place where he shouted, just good at making color. What can you do with an arrow? Just saying that the other man swung the axe to Grid. But right now, Grid activated the rage of time thanks to that skill. His eyes flushed. He used the arrow to stab straight in. At this time, the system of the system announced that the Wrath of Time was activated. The power of attack and the speed of your attack was significantly increased within 20 seconds. After that, Grid stabbed the arrow straight into the other he thought the fatal. The other's teammates saw his attack, so they were pale. The other guy was knocked down. He rolled his eyes to the sky and shouted, Just the arrow. Grid heard what he said. He smiled slightly and asked again. This set looked like a normal arrow, so his eyes were just for decoration. Suddenly now, the Jaffa arrow radiates the surrounding electric rays. Grid grasped it tightly. He stared anxiously at it. But then the system showed up. The Wrath of the Blacksmith was activated. The power of attack and the speed of your attack was significantly increased within 20 seconds, 20, 19, 18, seeing its benefits. Grid thought, so great, I made 2 attacks thanks to the speed of attack, and ignoring the defense was also triggered, and the critical damage killed him in 2 hits. Right now, the system of the continued notice you killed a criminal in Winston, your reputation in Winston increased 60. Now you are an enemy for all criminals in Winston. You have received 4,300 XP. You have promoted. You have promoted. You have promoted. You have promoted. Currently, you are at level 8 after reading. Grid was surprised to shout, "Oh really, an increase of 5 levels immediately because of killing a level 35. Now my skill score has increased to 110 already. At this time, the system shows his data character name Grid level 8, 125 on 1400. Pagma's traditional profession, the title of Legendary Mission Blood, 316 on 316, Mana, 87 on 87, skill points, 110, capacity of 842 on $1,000, strength, 24, physical strength, 22, agile, 16, durable, 21, 14, clear, 15. After that, Grid looked at the mercenaries who were going to his side. He thought that these guys had a high attack, but the defense was defensive to defeat them. I needed to gain points into strength and agility. Only 4 names. All the bets just said he lowered the world with the Jaffa arrow, is radiating the electric rays. Then, the continued notification system, you allocate 50 skill points into the strength index. You have allocated 60 skill points into the agile index. The effectiveness of the enrollment of the blacksmith to 10 seconds. Right now, Grid soared to avoid the other guy's attack. He took the arrow tip of the same thinking, taking advantage of the time to lower another name. Right now, he curved him straight to the back of the arrow behind the other guy. He was attacked by Raid, so he fell back. Painfully, his accomplices were worried. "Praga, are you okay?" Praga tried to stand up, the foul season flowing in the line. What only that how could it be enough to kill me, probably before he was lucky to eat. But the other guy was still wary of saying, but his speed was too fast, and we could not use a large weapon and hit it on it. Transferring towards Grid, he stared at the B Praga name still standing up, so he was surprised to think that TSK even gaining points and he still had not died. I was still too weak this time. The effect did not activate even the critically, not. Suddenly, the other guy said, "Do not be on there anymore if good go here to play." Grid was startled and finished. He stepped down and thought all the way he had to fight directly. The other mercenaries saw him obediently step down, so he laughed and said that he, resisting, was a huge son. Grid did not flinch at all. He looked straight at them and analyzed that if they let them surrounded about 2 to 3 clicks, they will beat her right away. But he still has a technique. My blood is about to run out and defenses Valmont 0, but if they are closer, it will be easier. Because I just pulled the time, I will use it now. Right now, the system shows that the perseverance of the legendary blacksmith, an increase of 200% of blood defensive and skillful index within 1 hour. Immediately after activating it, Grid laughed in the thought, this skill. But suddenly the other guy laughed. "Thank you for giving us time. You will have to pay for the price of my teammates." But Grid was not afraid of anything. He laughed softly. Good came triggered the perseverance of the legendary blacksmith. Suddenly the system table appeared continued. This skill did not consume mana. This skill could not actively use it. It will activate itself when you continue to wait. The other guy smirked his eyes to show close intentions. He told him his buttocks up. Scenes towards Grid. The system of the system, notifying him that the perseverance of the legendary blacksmith activated the failure. After reading the Grid's face pale, he opened his mouth and thought that, "No, you're wrong, guys." Suddenly the name Praga came from, to just swinging the axe, while shouting, "Dying the dog." But Grid quickly jumped to dodge it. He feared to think, "Oh, joking, the water was so wrong, it turned out that the skill also needs to activate." But the other mercenaries did not let Grid resuscitated, but they both stormed and shouted together, all with gang bang. Grid was hit by their beats. Afterward, he took out the bottle to recover. Grid quickly jumped and thought his maximum blood was 316, but he had to tuck the mid-level bottle of 1500 stars. It took 20 seconds to use another bottle. The buttocks were right away. At this time, the other man swung the sword into Grid, but he quickly dodged to the other. But besides him, he had another ambush when he was not good. He lowered the axe. Grid clearly saw the action. He was prepared, so he held up the arrow. He smashed the arrow. Immediately, the axe was turned to his feet, making his legs bloody. The next notice system, you receive 200 damage, but not in time for Grid to resuscitate. The other guy continued to swing the sword towards him. He used the force to smash the sword on the ground. Grid quickly dodged his attack. He took out the healing jar and thought, damn it, the same road. The system was continued. You used mid-level power increased by 50 in 5 minutes. You used an intermediate agile vase, increased 50 in 5 minutes. After finishing 2 bottles, he threw it down on the ground. Continued 10 gold for each bottle, about 100,000 won. I just served a lot. The mercenaries saw Grid running away. They shouted close to him. At this time, Grid did not run anymore. He quickly dodged each of them. They saw his agile reflexes. They were surprised and cried out like that to see when you dodged when. After saying that they kept throwing the blades into Grid was both miserable and thought that they were attacking at the same time. At least I had to rest my legs just after thinking Grid lowered my feet to the ground. They saw that he was still standing, so they shouted what? Grid breathed and responded, what's wrong? Choose the wrong game, right? Leave the contract, and then I forgive my life. Hearing Grid's encouragement, the Mercy hired them crazy and shouted, there was shit, you killed Nail and the dog. We didn't care about the silver contract anymore, you already determined. Grid laughed softly. He said, I asked to forgive his life. Don't regret it. Now. He sneaked out something that thought that the recovery time of the bottle was about to finish. Want to continue to leave the children. The other guy was irritable. Stop bullshit, the only one to die today will be you. Look with those legs, what will you do? Right now, Grid suddenly ran up in front of the name Johnson. Mr. Tong punched him straight in his face. Johnson just disappeared but still cursed the guy. The dog gave birth. The other guys saw their teammates disappear. They were angry. Johnson, this bastard. Grid laughed softly. Who told you guys? Dad here is not free to chatter. At this time, the continued newspaper system, you killed the criminal Johnson. You received 4,300 XP. You have granted. You have leveled up. You have granted. You have to go too. The other guy asked, but I kept wondering why you were so effervescent. You trapped the cowardly dog. I will slash your mouth, saying that he just swung the sword into Grid. But Grid was not afraid of anything. He just rushed to him. He shouted so aggressive his brother the loophole was loud. After that, Grid stabbed the Jaffa arrow straight into the standing name. Although the arrow caused the Praga's body to bleed, he still waited and said that how many times I stabbed me, but you won't die so easily. Right now the names and Vale jumped up. Then at the same time, two slashed at Grid. Grid looked at the two blades to slash at his body. He could not keep up the room, so he could fly away. Mr. Khan stood behind me, so worried, boy, are you okay? Grid did not keep up with the words of the old man. He was painful and thought I needed time to take more bottles, but did not let him recover. In time, the other Praga ran to hold on to Grid and said, ran again. The cockroach rotten. Grid was caught by him, so surprised. Then he glanced down to see that his teammates were running, so he thought me this time he was really dead. And that's all that armor. As soon as he thought, he glanced on the floor, there was an armor covered by a piece of cloth. Suddenly, the name Praga received a powerful attack, so he bent down to drop Grid. At this time, Grid crashed the arrow straight into the neck of the Praga, standing behind to see that the dog do not struggle useless anymore. But at this time, Grid threw that arrow to the name, He used the sword to whip the other arrow, said so strong. By the time they could not pay attention to Grid, quickly ran up to the floor, thinking tinged the previous phase was the new, critically angry. Saw him running like that. He ran up to the back of the stairs. Ha ha, you throw weapons, honey. You still know how to run again. Grid quickly ran to the other armor. He thought, yeah, continue to say. Then suddenly Grid was so frantic if he wanted to protect the forging shop answer him. Mr. Khan heard Grid, he faltered socks. Of course, if he helped him, he would definitely rebuild this place. Heard his answer. Grid took out the cloth he just said, so he asked for permission. Borrowing this, Mr. Khan stood below to see Grid remove the cloth from the other armor. The old man was startled and bigger. No, it was not something everyone could wear. Only the item on this floor could be equipped. But Grid did not listen to the old man he finished wearing when he was not good. The hired spiritual crowd went up and excitedly cried, do not waste his words anymore. It is finished. This dead, this. As soon as they said, the three of them jumped on the Grid. Grid pointed to throw the cloth beside me. You've ever heard of the phrase? Over game yet, while saying Grid and using the force of slashing away to make the three of them leave around him also from there. The three of them were cut in half, gradually disappearing, and said that how could it, the guy bastard? As soon as they disappeared, the system table showed that you killed criminals, Praga, and Vale. Your reputation in Winston increased 220. You received 200 EXP, the maximum friendly friendship you have granted it. You have leveled up. You have leveled up the wrath of the blacksmith. The task is completed. Suddenly the old man ran up. He gasped and asked the drawer, the boy, he was okay. But something made him stop. Rolled his eyes, he uncle. Grid wore a Khan's yellow armor shining aura. He exhaled and praised that the old man. This feeling was so great. Why did he put such a strong dish in such a dusty, right now? Right now, the system shows the information of that armor. Valhalla, the most rare rarity, the requirement of use level 250 or higher strength 800 or more power, physical strength 1000 or higher proficiency. Dane's Life copy. Rarity, unique use requirements level 250 or higher power 1800 or higher proficient in high-end swords. Manufacturer's Latino read that information grid admires that the person named Latino is really menstruation. The man trembling when he heard Grid's words, he asked the young man, could he realize the value of these dishes, even know the name of the manufacturer? Grid heard that he smiled slightly. Yeah, he could see it right away. Then he glanced down. I saw that Mr. Khan had fainted down. Grid said, the old man had blood pressure or why suddenly fainted. But yes, older and alcoholic later, you have to be careful to be careful. After all, I finished the task. I did it, I started to do it. Started the next task. While saying Grid bent down to see the situation, the Grid stopped a bit and then muttered the next mission. At this time, Grid seemed to realize something. So the face was pale and screamed that my chain mission. Waking up to see the old man at this time, the old man did not wake up, but foamed his edges. Grid found that the situation was not so satisfactory, so he frantically shouted, do not release foam, wake up to deliver the task and faint. Also the old man, scenes to a massive villa. The name Valmont was eating a piece of beef when suddenly cried out what the gypsy we rented to the forged shop was missing. They received money and ran, Beale was embarrassed. Please, sorry was my idea when using them, but Valmont foxed. But what? Now you are responsible. As a trader, he will definitely not lose, return them to them and compensate the damage quickly. Beale finished listening hurriedly. I didn't have much money like that. Please give me another chance. Valmont's name basically did not care. He annoyed and glared at Bao. Beale without money. You went to find the family of the people doing business in the slave market was probably quite good, right? Enough, and then take him away. Beale miserably shouted, Mr. Valmont, please. But the name Valmont ignored the word. Beale said. He turned to the side to ask Rabbit exactly what happened. Rabbit, Valmont's consultant, quickly replied, Sir, I did not know. I firmly believed that they went to the forged shop, but soon disappeared. Valmont listened to him smirking and complained that we had to be miserable. We had to take over the entire forging shop in this village just because of that small shop. Where is the old man already? Rabbit was now thinking that he chased a faithful servant for 10 years. It was both a pride and a cruel, and Rabbit calmly responded. 2 hours ago, someone saw a strange kid who brought him to the clinic. Valmont is not interested in telling the strange kid. He will probably know something. We have entered and sold weapons at a cheap price and made a contract just to rob the forging shop. Finally made him live. We could not miss this opportunity. Rabbit, the right to handle this case away. Rabbit answered seriously, yes, sir. Returned to Young Woo's apartment. He happily sat in front of the TV, happily contacted each piece of rice into his mouth. He happily humbled a random song, happily said only killed a few guys, that he had been level 21, the yard was back to him, and he had the opportunity to receive a series of missions. He craved drooling, and was the sword that the armor was a billionaire. Dainsleif and Valhalla are both unique, like garbage. In fact, garbage has not been manufactured, but it is likely to be legendary class. But they can trade and require equipment is not as unreasonable as garbage. He told himself that he had left Mr. Khan in the clinic, so he would be okay. Young Woo has just logged into the game and thought, don't die. The old man, your success is based on him. Unexpectedly, the position appearing in his game was in Smith Clinic. He was happy to think I was brought straight here, convenient. The old man saw that he immediately asked, oh, you're here. He turned to ask the doctor about Khan's situation. How did he? That person responded because the blood pressure was stable, so he could be discharged from the hospital as long as he stopped drinking alcohol. His health would be fine. He must have been blessed by God. The old man named Khan was very grateful to you. Thank you. He said he was Grid. Right? It seems that I owe you a love already. He humbly said he was just helping when he saw the tribulation. Now he paid the hospital, and then we came back. However, the old man began to become confused. Sorry, but actually he ran out of money. Young Woo was surprised to ask, The owner of the clinic did not forgive him, starting to ask for money. One is to spread out a gold, or the Lord will throw a syringe into his butt. Young Woo heard that, then purple, all his face moody said, God blessed, so short, so short, so short. After leaving the clinic, the old man in his hand thanked you, really grateful to you. Thanks to you. I have hope. Valmont. I have sold the 7 generations of ancestors. Young Woo played the old man, gently said, I just helped in my ability. Let's go, I helped him to rest. If he let the forging shop fall into their hands, he would probably kill him soon. Fortunately, there are grandchildren here. But when he went to the clinic, he could not come. The old man heard that the more he felt sorry, whispering, That's right. Wishing that I could repay you, really worthy. Suddenly in front of him he appeared in armor with a sword, huh? Young Woo expressed guava please, old man began to feel regretful. On one side, I would like to withdraw my words just now. Wait, Grid, I could not give you that, Young Woo. Heard the old man angrily grabbed the old man's hair. His life was saved by anyone. It was me. Old man, I was his benefactor. That there was that. The old man getting his eyes and looking away to say, Please understand, they are the traditional treasures that our family has protected for many generations. Dainsleif and Valhalla are bad items, because no one has the ability to tame the power from them, so they have to close the dust there for hundreds of years. But 130 years ago, one person realized its value. Nobody else is Pagma. He bowed his head, recalling the previous time. Pagma put on the armor and swung up the sharp, unimaginable swords. When he said that he had made one with equipment, some rumors that with his strength and flexibility, his swordplay could tear the sky and call thunder. Our ancestors have demoted and asked him to bring Dainsleif and Valhalla. Young Woo asked curiously. So did Pagma agree. So it turned out that the old man was the descendant of the blacksmith that year. Mr. Khan stroked his armor, answered his question. No, he refused, but he said that someday their true owner would appear, and he appeared. How can you equip it depending on the answer that we will make a decision? Young Woo is observant to discover the key point, thinking quest leads to the chain mission, must immediately take his hand. Think about it. He said loudly to say I was somewhat similar to Pagma. The old man who heard that was startled. Pagma could not. So he meant the transmission of Pagma. Young Woo folded his arms, yes, right. At the same time, the announcement system, Pagma's traditional tasks were initialized. The specific content of this task is to follow the Pagma swordplay path and collect all the legends about him. This task is not limited to time. If you accept the legendary mission career, you will never be able to transfer the job again. The conditions for completing the professional task is the series of tasks, the reward completed, unknown. The first career task is Pagma's Italian. The condition of the Pagma reward. The condition of the Pagma reward. This is a copy of Dainsleif. Young Woo was frustrated, did he not give it up? However, the old man was extremely careful, he sympathized. But we need evidence. He thought, was he facing the desire of the legend like his ancestor met him? Thinking it was to do, the old man took out a bottle of wine from a chest. If he was really a Pagma transmission one day, he would have to prove that first. We celebrate a few glasses, what he feared he had happened. He tried to dissuade him. Hey, don't drink alcohol. I forbid you to drink before I finish my mission. Suddenly someone came to the door to look for him. Is anyone home? Please ask if Mr. Khan is home. I am Rabbit from Hero Group. Marrow Group. He came here to replace the Wanderer. While he was constantly thinking, Young Woo decided to hide the bottle away, take a pile of wine and sell 2 gold. He sighed a little bit, determined to talk. Come down and talk. The person who was sent to negotiate with the old man, as far as I know, he is not able to pay the 600 gold debt to the group. He also did not deny it, that's true. But I will not sell the shop. You go home. The other knows it cannot convince the old man to sell the shop. So I offer a new agreement. Actually, I come here to ask another solution. We will still let him run the forging shop, even pay high salaries as long as the forging shop is in the name of the group. He did not hear only a word. He meant that I would become a dog of Hero Group. The other began to become uncomfortable. The condition became better than before. He still wanted to refuse stars. He proudly said, right, this is not only for us, but also the reputation of our family.